So today I kind of want to talk about like what does Star Citizen need to have more of a mainstream appeal to players, like to get people to play the game more than like once or twice a year, potentially just to check things out. Maybe a cool patch comes out, they check it out. What's going to take it to get people to come and stay in the verse for a while and play and enjoy their time? Kind of what got me thinking about this topic is the new 30k fix where you no longer lose all the stuff in your ship and character if a 30k happens. And this is pretty exciting because it's really a game changer, especially with the inventory and like trading being fixed and all that. So it's pretty exciting that it's happened. But like when you go tell somebody, like I was trying to get my buddies to play because I was like, hey, it's a great time to play. They just got this 30k fix, and they're like, what's that? So I explained it to them, and they kind of laughed because every other game already has this. It's expected. But like when you play Star Citizen for so long, you kind of lose sight of the certain things that more people would need to have that mainstream appeal. And so I was kind of thinking of a few things. This is probably isn't going to be 100% everything, but a few things that Star Citizen really needs to get that mainstream appeal and get people and more people in the game playing for longer and just a better overall thing so that you can get your friends that are skeptical of the game in and stuff like that. Uh, so so I got a few things that I want to cover to that I think would really help Star Citizen. Like when a new player jumps in, they just don't think it's the rumors of a tech demo. They're like, oh, it's all true, and then leave right away. First of all, I think that persistence is going to be a big one. Now, the 30k crash recovery system is a great step forward, and this is one of those that's just going to take time. But like, I mean, like logging back in where you logged out, stuff like that. Just a bunch of different things to really smooth it out and really increase the immersion of the game. I don't really see any way that they can do this without just keep on doing what they're doing. But the second one is definitely has to be the menus. The menus are some of the most frustrating things in the game. The bugs with them, like most of the other bugs, I find funny, but the menu bugs just frustrate me. Like when I'm trying to do a mission and my map will not route, I cannot get there or whatever. I'm trying to outfit a ship, it's glitched out. Oh man, it's extremely frustrating and takes you out of the game. Now, I don't think they need to have the most clean or perfect menus. They just need to have menus that work 99% of the time and they're not always glitched out. Because there's nothing like more of a turnoff to a new player than jumping in and like trying to plot a route somewhere and then they're like, ah, oh, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? And then they go look it up and like, oh, you got to do all these stupid little tricks and then maybe it'll work. I don't know if it's just me or most people, but my map has gotten significantly worse in 3.14 than it was in 3.13. So hopefully it's a little bit better in 3.15. But who knows? I'm looking forward to the new map. Now, the next thing is better player interactions. Uh, the player interactions are kind of weird, in my opinion. Like, if you see another player running around, you can't see their name, but you can send them a friend's request or a party request. You can chat with them on global, or you can try and hit them on VoIP, which it's rare that you get somebody to respond on that. So I just think there needs to be able to be more player interactions. Like I think you should be able to show your or I think it should be an option if you want to show your name or not, stuff like that. I think there should be local chats, and obviously like a big one's kind of bringing orgs into the game. And I'm not talking anything crazy with orgs like whatever. I'm just talking like add another list like a friends list, but for each of the orgs that you've joined, and you can see if any of your org mates are online, and you can hit them up, or if you're a new person you've joined an org, you could message and get some help with some things and different stuff like that, so that you're not forced to turn to global chat because sometimes global chat's super helpful and sometimes they're not. But this would just have another option. You'd be able to have an org chat, talk with your org mates while you're playing the game, see if anybody wants to do anything, stuff like that. Maybe there could be like an org job board and you could post like, hey, I want to go mining or whatever, stuff like that, just to really bring in uh, player interactions on a more simple level. Obviously, like if once trading gets in, I would love for them to go really far when they create player interactions like trading to be able to like trade data. Maybe you'll be able to point stuff out on the maps and different things like that would be really cool. And also for now, since there's no really great multi-crew missions or multiplayer missions or whatever, I think it would be fantastic if they just, if you're doing like if you share the mission, you both get the same as the single payout and it's not cut in half, just to encourage players to interact and play more together. So those are a couple things I think they could do to make it feel more alive and more like a community and do stuff like that. Or just give the community tools, because the community's already pretty great, but I think those are, they could just give a few more tools to the community to make things even better and more tight knit. And for the next thing, it's the performance issues. I can't tell you how many times I've seen on the Star Citizen Reddit or in my comments or in other creators' comments about how the performance sucks for them. And now some of the people I've talked to in my comments, they have similar PC setups to me. Like maybe they have a little bit better processor and a little bit worse graphics cards. It's just the settings are so, like, there's so many settings ticked in the thing that just eat up performance. Like the anti-aliasing and the motion blur, they made the game almost unplayable for me. Like the first time I played this game, I think it was about it. Well, the first time after I purchased the game, the first time I played was about a year ago, and I jumped in for a couple hours, and there was a lot to learn because it was my first time playing, right? And then also the graphics and performance were so bad that it just really turned me off, and I shut it down for like another 6 months before I actually picked it back up. So I think there's just a few simple ways that they could do a couple things just to make performance better right off the bat. Like if they just had anti-aliasing and motion blur turned off, my experience from the beginning would have been significantly better. Now, if they could go a step farther and like be able to check, because there's, like, I know there's more settings in 3.15 I haven't messed with, but in 3.14 there's just not very many settings, so they could definitely match your specs with some other people and be able to give you a good recommendation of what you should run, or just boot you up with that after the start menu. Something like that, just to make it a lot smoother. And even right now, this in the cities, the frame rates are by far the worst, so I wouldn't even be opposed to currently right now, before the game gets optimized and working right, to have people be able to spawn in space stations, just so that they don't jump into like New Babbage or Orison, have horrible frame rates, and put down the game and never play again. And another thing is, free fly weekends, the servers always seem to be pushed to the max on free fly weekends. So a lot of new players wanting to check out the game, jump in, they want to go to the new cool place, so they go to Orison. Their settings are all messed up. They're in a city, and then the servers are getting pushed to their limits, so they just get the worst frame rates, and it just turns them off from the game. So I think that another thing they could do, once you make an account or something, you could have like 10 free days. It doesn't have to be a free fly weekend to use, and you could use those 10 days or whatever to be able to see what your actual roundabout performance would be when the servers aren't absolutely maxed out. I'm not saying take away the free fly weekends. I'm just saying 10 days on top of that you could try it out whenever. I know I missed quite a few free fly weekends that I wanted to do as well, just because I wasn't in the Star Citizen news loop, so I just didn't know. So that would kind of solve two problems. Is if you don't follow the game, you still have like 10 days, or it doesn't even matter how many days, 3 days, whatever, to try out the game. And also it wouldn't be at a time that the game is slammed with a whole bunch of people trying to try out the game on free fly weekends. And then it would also probably make free fly weekends less crowded if you tried out the game then, and just better overall performance for all around to get people the best impression possible of the game. Now, and lastly, I do think there should be some kind of tutorial. Now, I know that the game's always changing, so going to a real in-depth tutorial just is kind of pointless, because every other patch or every major patch or whatever, the tutorial's going to be outdated and people are going to have to spend time to remake it. But the tutorial that I would like an out-of-game tutorial, like an arena commander or something like that, that just kind of walks you through the very basics. How to use F to interact with stuff, how to start your ship, walk around, how to turn on your lights, how to take on and off your helmet, how to eat, drink, or whatever, how to fly a ship, just real basic stuff that's really not ever going to change, so that they could do it and just forget about it, and they wouldn't have to rely on people downloading the game, playing the game, realizing they don't know how to get out of bed, going and looking up a YouTube tutorial on how to do it. Like, I think it would just be a lot more smooth if there's some simple tutorial in the game just to give people the very basics. So those are the things I think Star Citizen really needs to kind of have a more mainstream appeal. It needs better persistence, menus just working properly, having more player interactions, making the world feel more alive and more community driven. Uh, some stuff that they could do to make the performance better even in the game's current state without waiting for the optimization, and just a very simple tutorial. I think all these things together would really help pull Star Citizen into the mainstream, and I know some of this stuff is, well, all of it's being worked on, but I think there's a few things that they could do real quick to just make the game have a lot more of that mainstream appeal and get a lot more people on board to play the game. Anyway, if you have any other ideas about what the Star Citizen could use to go kind of mainstream, get more mainstream appeal, let me know down in the comments below, and thank you all for watching the video.